What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of the Liderazgo para Todos podcast, or Leadership for Everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Our goal is to help you develop your leadership potential wherever you are. Before we get started, I want to let you know that we will be launching our first course in April called Influence: How to Become a Leader Worth Following. I want to teach you 8 habits that will transform your life and leadership so that you can increase your ability to influence yourself and others. Each habit will include a video lesson, an outline to follow, and a project to help you put it into practice. Stay tuned for more info. In the second episode, I want to talk to you about who leadership is for. In the first episode, we talked about what leadership is, and now we need to talk about who it is for. If you want to learn more about what leadership is exactly, please go back and listen to the first episode. Let me start with a question. Who is a leader? Is everyone a leader? Are only some people leaders? Do you have to have a position or a title to be a leader? Do you have to have a certain personality to be a leader? Can I become a leader? These are questions that are asked by every generation. We talked about last time how leadership is all around us and we can't escape it. In the last 100 years, however, there has been a tremendous amount of research done on the subject of leadership. At first, researchers thought that leadership was something you were born with. It was an ability or a trait that you either inherited or you didn't. This meant that only some people could be leaders and other people could not be leaders. Leadership was not something you could learn or develop. You either had the traits or you didn't. Eventually, researchers thought that leadership was something you could develop. If you learned the right behaviors and skills, you could become a leader. This meant many more people had the potential to be a leader. It wasn't something you were just born with. Then, researchers thought that leadership was something you were surrounded by. Certain behaviors and skills didn't work for every situation. So if you were around the right people and the right influences, you could become a leader. At this point in the study of leadership, researchers believe that leadership is a combination of all of these factors. Leaders have certain traits, develop behaviors, and are influenced by others to become effective. Listen to this statistic based on hundreds of studies. 30% of leadership is inherited, and 70% of leadership is developed. Did you catch that? That means 70% of leadership is something you learn, develop, and improve upon. In other words, leaders are developed. So let me ask you, are you ready to develop your leadership potential? I want to share with you 5 facts about who leaders are. I want you to listen carefully to them and ask yourself, am I ready to become a leader? Number 1, leadership is for everyone. Not for some people, not for special people, not for the elite. Leadership is for everyone. How do I know this? Because the essence of leadership is influence, and everybody has influence. No matter who you are, you have influence with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, your classmates, and most importantly, with yourself. Every day you have the opportunity to be a leader. Every day you have the chance to have a positive influence on someone else or on yourself. Remember, your influence begins and ends with how you lead yourself. This is your first and greatest challenge as a leader. If you want to develop your potential, start by developing discipline and self-control in your own life. We will talk more about self-leadership in the future, so just remember this. Self-leadership is the ability to positively influence yourself to create change and accomplish goals. Number 2, leadership is learnable. Research supports the idea that everyone can develop their leadership potential through knowledge, skills, and experiences. And a lot of it comes down to your mindset or perspective about learning. There are those who have a fixed mindset and those who have a growth mindset. Depending on which mindset you have will decide whether or not you will grow in your leadership potential. Someone with a fixed mindset believes that their talents, abilities, and intelligence cannot change and cannot grow. You are born with a certain amount of abilities and you cannot change it no matter how much effort you put in. Someone with a growth mindset, however, believes that their talents, abilities, and intelligence can change and can grow. You may be born with certain traits, but with enough effort and hard work, you can improve any area of your life. The growth mindset and the fixed mindset are learned ways of thinking. If you grew up with parents who never encouraged you or challenged you to grow, then you probably have a fixed mindset. If you grew up with parents who did encourage and challenge you to grow, then you probably have a growth mindset. However, whatever is learned can also be unlearned. You can adopt a growth mindset starting today. It starts by believing in your leadership potential. It starts by believing that you can change and grow. It starts by taking risks and even if you fail, learning from it and taking more. Number 3, leadership has levels. I believe with all my heart that everyone has the potential to be a leader. But there are levels of capacity and competency that everyone has to develop. The first level of leadership is self-leadership. This is where you decide you want to be an example to others, you want to develop your potential, and you want to develop skills that will help other people. This is where every leader starts and where some leaders stop. The second level is team leadership. This is where you start teaching, mentoring, and leading others. You learn how to solve problems, make good decisions, and build a team that works together. This is where most leaders get to and never get any farther. The third level is organizational leadership. This is where you begin creating systems and structures for others to follow. You focus mostly on delegating tasks, making decisions, and empowering your leaders. This is where some leaders get to, and few do it successfully. Here's an example. Let's say I want to learn how to play the guitar, which I can't, by the way. But when I buy the guitar and start to practice it consistently, I'm engaging in self-leadership. Let's say I learn it well and I begin showing others how to play. When I begin teaching groups of people how to play, I'm engaging in team leadership. Let's say it goes really well and I decide to open up a music school, which for me would never happen. When I begin creating a system for how to play guitar and hire others to teach the lessons, I'm engaging in organizational leadership. I believe everybody has the potential to achieve every level of leadership. It simply comes down to whether or not you want to learn the skills to do it well. Fourth, leadership has responsibilities. When you start to lead yourself well, others are going to take notice. One of the biggest signs that you are leading yourself well is that other people want to follow your example. Eventually, someone will take notice of your leadership potential and offer you a leadership role. This could be as a leader over a group or a manager over a team. Here's something important to remember. Oftentimes, when we think of leaders, we only think of titles and positions and authority. But you don't have to have a title or a position to be a leader. You can be a leader right now by having a positive influence on others. Also, the real leaders of organizations, businesses, and social groups are not always the ones with titles or positions. It's the ones who have earned influence with others through their example or their skills. If you are just starting out in leadership, focus on developing your skills and your example, and eventually the titles, the positions, the authority will come. Fifth, leadership takes skill. In future episodes, I want to share the many different skills you can develop to become a better leader. For now, I want to focus on the 3 most important skills you can improve if you want to become a leader starting today. The first is your problem-solving skills. People that get recognized and promoted to leadership roles are able to solve problems. Anybody can point out a problem, but a leader can solve a problem. If you know a better way of doing things, an easier way of doing things, or a more efficient way of doing things, then share it and teach it to others. The second is your relationship skills. We can't get away from it. Leaders need followers, and followers need leaders. It doesn't matter how many skills, talents, or abilities you have. If you cannot work well with other people, you will not be an effective leader. Leaders learn how to get along with others and motivate them to accomplish goals. The third is your decision-making skills. One of the primary responsibilities of a leader is making good decisions. Here's my advice. Learn the art of critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze all viewpoints of an issue and decide on the one with the most evidence. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of advice, but it will help you to make better decisions. So, to sum up, who is a leader? The answer? Everyone. Leadership is for everyone. We all have the opportunity to develop our leadership potential. And I hope these 5 facts help you to believe in your own potential. Let's finish this episode with some application. Here's a quote from Craig Groeschel. He says, "The most important skill you have as a leader is your personal example." It's not your personality, not your talents, and not your charisma. Your example is your most powerful influence. And here's a challenge I want you to try. Focus on developing a growth mindset this week. Choose an area of your life you want to get better at, a skill, an ability, or knowledge. Believe that you can improve in that area. Come up with a plan and then get to work. If you fail, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you learned what not to do. Try it again a different way and learn the right way to do it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe to it, leave us a review, share it with others, and remember, leadership is not just for someone. Leadership is for everyone. See you next time.